Welcome to Chris Veve Journey, where I take you on a trip to Veve, always as an adventurer, never as a financial advisor, so please invest with caution. So today's episode, we go over some news from Veve on their Twitter account. I will talk with you about the drop from today, the Scarlet Spiderman drop, and after that, I would like to introduce Scarlet Spider, Reilly Spiderman, to you guys, talk a little bit about the character. Was actually an idea of a viewer of my German channel. So I thought, yeah, let's just do that. I try to go over it as quickly as possible, but also give some insight into the character, which is part of a very convoluted storyline. So bear with me. I try my best. So let's go into, what I wanted to show you guys. First up. So today's drop had a Veve exclusive cover from Tony S. Daniels, and this is also Tony S. Daniel. That is his book Nocterra, written by Scott Snyder. I just got it delivered today. Pretty happy to have it. I just wish the postman would have used something else that wasn't as wet to deliver it, because now I got all these waves in the book, but whatever. So that's what his stuff usually looks like. I just think it looks way better than his work on the exclusive cover. I mean, the colored cover is awesome, but his black and white cover I was just not too fond about. But I'm a big fan of his work. I mean, he does really great stuff. Really knows what he's doing. Great artist, great artist. So let's look at the covers he has done. So there you have it. That are the two covers he has created. Or better yet, he has created this one and then it was colored to look like this. Great job on the colors, I have to say. It's just a great job on the colors. So my drop, I got a common again. I'm Commander Veve, almost Commander Veve. I don't know, I always get a common, which is pretty great. I'm happy to get anything at all. Nowadays, I just look for mint numbers. I would be so happy to get a small mint number, almost as great as getting a secret rare or ultra rare. But yeah, so far I'm always in the 5-digit space. So how did you guys do? Just let me know in the comments. So second thing, I just wanted to remind you guys, there's a Vaultoholics giveaway or contest, better yet, it's a contest, mashup contest going on over at the Twitter from Vaultoholics, where you can use your characters, your collectibles, build a character from that collectibles in your showroom, and if you share it with them with the right, I guess you have to share it with the hashtag. Let's see, you have to hashtag it and most likely tag. Yeah, you also need to tag some friends. Yeah, but you can see that. Get to the Veve account and look for this contest. There you have it. And you have a few more days time to do that, and then you can win 500 gems, or the second winner can choose if he wants to have a Batman Who Laughs collectible or a Seven Mask collectible. Those are both pretty great prizes, I guess, and yeah, I mean, it's usually worth your time. I mean, it's fun to use your stuff anyway, right? So the third thing is, that is what Veve posted yesterday, and everyone is thinking about what is this supposed to mean. So it's a swamp, obviously, and somebody already replied here that this image was from a little text that had to do with dinosaurs. So pretty close, I guess we can say it's about Jurassic Park. I mean, it would make a lot of sense if it was meant to be Jurassic Park. Would be my first guess. My second guess was maybe it has something to do with Swamp Thing from DC Comics. So yeah, I don't know. That was an idea. There is also Man Thing from Marvel Comics, but yeah, I don't know. That's far-fetched. I guess it's simply Jurassic Park. Makes the most sense. We will see. We will see. We don't have the news yet. I'm pretty excited. I mean, Jurassic Park is a no-brainer. There's a movie coming up. There's another video game already. It's not coming out yet, but it's already on the way. So yeah, why shouldn't they do it? It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so much for the news. There were some rumors and the AMA going around, but if you want to see a recap of the AMA, you will need to look at another YouTuber. There are some that talk about it. For me personally, I was hearing it, I was listening to it, but I didn't think there was anything that we can really put our teeth into and can say, oh yeah, that's affirmation for anything. So they didn't confirm Pokemon yet, so I guess that is what everyone is waiting for. They didn't, and they also said they wouldn't announce it in an AMA, so that makes a lot of sense. Pretty interesting in my opinion was that someone in the AMA asked if they are looking for ways to have relatives enter your account or get account information in case the account owner would die. And I think that's a pretty good idea if you think about how much value some collections already have. That is a something pretty important. And David Yu actually said that it is true, that it is important, and he put it on his schedule that they find will resolve this pretty quickly. Yeah, so let's come up to the second part of the video. So I was talking about Reilly Spiderman. That is actually this guy. So today the drop was the start of his series where he was on the way as Scarlet Spider. This guy is actually the image they used for the secret rare. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about the character because maybe that's interesting to you guys. So this is the first time we saw the character. This is Amazing Spider-Man 149 from October 1975. That is a single issue story. So, and you can see there's already another Spider-Man, and this is because the green guy, he's called the Jackal. He is known for cloning, and he cloned Peter Parker. So in this issue, we don't see Ben Reilly exactly, because this is just a clone of Peter Parker. He's not that self-aware. He hasn't given himself the name Ben Reilly yet. And yeah, he's there to distract Peter Parker. They fight, and then he finds out that he's the good guy. He dies by sacrificing himself to protect the others. Pretty simple storyline, but also pretty cool storyline. So this is the first appearance of the character. Everyone thought he was dead. I mean, this book is from 1975 and he came back 1994 in the Clone Saga storyline. That storyline went from 1994 to 1996. That is 2-year-long storyline, even a little bit longer than 2 years. A really big convoluted story that is, yeah, I mean, it's the clone saga. It's just about the clones. So many clones. It's just tough. So you can get it collected in like small paperbacks in big omnibus collections, but it's a lot. It's really a lot to catch up on. And if you don't have no connection to that time of comics, I think it's hard to access because it's not the greatest storyline, not the best written storyline ever. It is fun if you have a connection to the 90s, I guess. That is where the fun starts. So what happens there is that Ben Reilly, they assumed he died 1975 in the comic book, but he comes back 94 because in comics it didn't take 20 years. That was just a few years in comics because the time in comics doesn't move as fast as in the real world. So he heard about his Aunt May, that she got a stroke. So that's the reason why he comes back to New York, because he was living somewhere else. He didn't even want to meet Peter Parker because he thought he's the clone. He changed his name to Ben Reilly, or not even changed. He gave himself the name Ben Reilly. Ben after his uncle Ben, and Reilly is was the maiden name of Tante Aunt May. So that's why he calls himself Ben Reilly. He changed his hair color to he was a blonde guy, and then they meet. They meet at the hospital. I think they even fight a little bit, but then they find out they're both on the same side, and then they start protecting New York together for a while, and the story gets really, really convoluted. In the story, it seems like that Peter Parker is actually the clone and Ben Reilly is the real Spider-Man. So Peter Parker leaves with Mary Jane. He's already stressed out enough, Everything isn't working out well for him. So they leave, and Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider, takes over as Spider-Man. He's acting as Spider-Man, and not even most of the villains don't even get it that he's not the real Spider-Man. He doesn't fill in the role of Peter Parker though. He's not working at the Daily Planet or anything. He has a job at the diner and lives his own life, basically continues living his own life. But he takes the mantle of Spider-Man. And when he does, he has this costume. So now what I got wrong with the Mark Bagley video I did, I said that Mark Bagley did design this costume, but I already told you yesterday that was designed by Tom Lyland, but Mark Bagley did in fact design this costume, the Ben Reilly Spider-Man costume. And we already have the collectible Ben Reilly Spider-Man, but that is based on the super new costume that was just shown to us in the new comic book from Spider-Man, and I don't have an image to that yet, but yeah, you know what it looks like. You have seen it many times now. It's in your collectible collection most likely. So yeah, that was a different design, and this is just from 2017. Not the design, but he came back 2017 because at the end of the Clone Saga, Ben Reilly dies again. He dies at the hands of Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, sacrificed himself for Peter, and then he was presumably dead 1996. So he died in 1975 was the first time he died. Then he died in 1996, again sacrificing himself, and then he comes back 2017. So yeah, and he died many times before that because he's another clone, and he was cloned and killed again by the Jackal. So yeah, really bad. Went mad for being cloned so much and killed so much, but Peter Parker manages to get him back on track. Yeah, so that's how he got back, and that's why we have him in the comic books now, because the new storylines is Ben Reilly and Peter Parker working together, taking care of New York, which is pretty cool. I haven't read the books yet, but I'm eager to read them. I'm really interested to read them. I haven't read any Spider-Man lately because the story seems to be really bad, the Nick Spencer run, and yeah, let's wait for the new book. As soon as there's some paperbacks, I'll read them, and hopefully finally have a cool Spider-Man book again. It's been very long since I had some really cool Spider-Man stories. I can't almost wait to have another book in my hands. So little info to this guy. This is also someone called Scarlet Spider. This is also a clone, but it's not Ben Reilly. This is KEIN. It's another clone, and he's also in the comic books. He's also right now in the books still. Interesting character, but has nothing to do with Ben Reilly, so we're not talking about him. Another pretty interesting thing, in 1996 there was a crossover between Marvel and DC Comics, and they had a storyline that was called Marvel vs DC, and those characters actually fight against one another. So you have Superman fighting the Hulk, Wolverine fighting against Lobo, pretty cool stuff. And because in that time Ben Reilly was the Spider-Man, we have that Spider-Man, Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, fighting against Superboy. There's a missed opportunity of sorts. So we didn't have the real Spider-Man fighting in that fight. That is, yeah, it's a shame. But we have Ben Reilly fighting, also cool. So he fights against Superboy, who is also a clone of Superman and Lex Luthor, because these Superboy story where Superboy is just a young Superman, we didn't have that for a long time. It's either a clone or actually his son is now known as Superboy. And yeah, so that was pretty cool. After that they had an Amalgam Universe. Amalgam Universe was a mix-up between characters from Marvel and DC. So Spider-Man and Superboy were merged together and made Spider-Boy. And the best merger in that whole universe, in my opinion, was Batman and Wolverine, called Dark Claw. That was such an awesome comic book, such a cool design, pretty awesome, but you always had just one issue, and a little bit later on there were another incarnation of that series, so you got a second issue, sometimes from some characters, not from all characters. So there was a second issue of Dark Claw that was in the design of the Batman animated series. that was pretty cool also. But yeah, the hard part is you don't get a reprint of that because there's no license between Marvel and DC at this point, and that's because yeah, they would basically need to get into a new contract together to make a reprint of that storyline, which is bad. This was a really cool storyline. I would like to see more of that. But yeah, those are hard to get. You can't even get them digitally, at least not legally. So that's a tough one. Yeah, that's it for today's episode. I hope it was fun and kind of interesting about the character. If you like this content, if you like the character introduction in a short form with a few images, let me know. And I will do it more often on more episodes. So that's for me. I hope you guys were lucky in your drop. If you were, or if you weren't, just let me know in the comments how your drop was, and I'll be happy to read it. And I hope to see you guys soon, maybe tomorrow. Bye bye.